Good morning, ladies. I don't know about you, but I am feeling fabulous. Yesterday, I was struggling a bit. My nose kept running, and you can hear I still have a little bit of a cold, but I love being an adult and having a bedtime and deciding when I want to go to bed. And last night, I decided I want to go to bed before the sun went down. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I feel so refreshed. I feel great. It's such a testament to why we need sleep. I probably don't always get the right amount of sleep. I try. Um, but anyway, I'm feeling much better today. I feel really energetic and I'm excited because we're going to talk about this word no, which is a really awkward word. And words matter Wednesday. So that's what we're talking about here in this week of communication is how do we get comfortable with saying no, with hearing no. I want us to change the way that we deliver and we receive it. I think especially for women, it's such a hard word for us to say because we're caretakers, we're people pleasers. We want to make people happy and we feel that if we say no that we're going to offend somebody, that we're not going to make them happy and so we say yes. We say yes. And there's a reason. I know that this is an example that gets used a lot, but there's a reason that it is an example and it gets used a lot. There's a reason that they say on an airplane to put your mask on before helping anyone else. And the reason why is because if you can't breathe, you can't help anyone else out. So I want you to think through some of these situations in your life where you are saying yes to everything. You're saying yes at work, maybe your boss, maybe you had some coworkers that left and your boss is giving you additional responsibilities. Hey, Janet, can you get this done by tomorrow? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Or yes, ma'am, whatever. Right. And you're saying this. Yes, yes, yes. You say it at work. You say it at home. Oh, yes, I can take on the laundry. Yes, I can take on the cooking. Yes, I can take on taking the kids from here to there. Yes, I can do all of these things. And then maybe your friends ask you, hey, do you want to go out on Friday night? And you say, yes, yes, I can. So it's yes at work. It's yes at home. It's yes to your friends. It's yes to your family. It's yes to everybody. And what happens? How do you feel? Be honest. Be really honest with yourself. Maybe a little resentful. Maybe a little burnt out. I think resentment is something that so often we feel when we say yes to everything. Because maybe in our hearts we didn't want to and we knew that that was the right answer. We knew that we weren't going to be able to have that deliverable done by the next day. And yet we said yes to our boss. And here we are at work till 9 p.m. working really late, maybe later, all because we didn't push back and say no. So think about the situation as you play it out. If you started to say yes to everything, what would your life look like? And there is this scope creep that starts to happen when your boss knows that you say yes, when your coworkers know that you're dependable, when your family, when your friends, when they know, because we teach people how to treat us. And I don't believe that it's anything that they're doing maliciously. Oh, well, Jen will say yes because she doesn't know how to say no. I don't think that's it. But if you always say yes and you do it with a smile and you say, yeah, sure, take that on, and they think maybe it's something you actually enjoy. When in your heart you're thinking, I don't have the capacity to do this. I'm not getting the sleep that I need. I'm not being able to enjoy life the way that I want to. I'm not able to do all of these other things because I just keep saying yes to everybody. But you're doing it with a smile. So you've taught them that it's okay. It's okay to come to you, ask for something, and when they do, you'll say yes and that's that. But the truth is, we need to understand our boundaries. And no is a right that you have. I wrote a book called Defining Your Boundaries, and I talk about how we have fundamental rights as individuals. And one of our rights is saying no. I just saw a text message. I didn't know if maybe my microphone wasn't on. I had to check. My mom was mic checking me the other day. So anyway, that's what that was. But one of our fundamental rights is saying no. We have to be okay with saying it. We know that that is something that is inherent to us. And if we don't stand up for ourselves, who will? And then we start to create, because we teach people how to treat us. Then the further on down the line that we get, finally, when all of this resentment and this anxiety and the lack of sleep and everything that's going on inside of us, that starts to bottle up and bottle up. And guess what happens? It explodes. It explodes. Think about a time where you didn't say no and you walked through life and you just kept saying yes. You just kept saying yes. And then all of a sudden you had that, I can't do this anymore. I can't take this anymore. Because that's what happens. We want to be these people pleasers, but in the end, all we're doing is creating this internal bomb within ourselves. And it doesn't mean you have to say no to everything, but it's a balance. And you need to assess. So before you immediately say yes, and I know I did this in corporate America so many times, my boss would say something and I would just, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I didn't think I really had an option to say no. Hey, Jen, can you get this done by tomorrow? Yeah. And I'm in my mind going, I don't even know anything about this project. I'm going to have to learn. I don't know who to contact. I don't know anything. I don't. But without having all of the facts, I just went ahead and said yes. And I think for the most part, I was able to follow through on my deliverables. But whose fault would it be if I wasn't able to? My own. My own. It's okay for us to take a pause and not answer immediately. Hey, let me look into that and let me get back to you. Hey, let me look at my calendar first and then I'll get back to you. Hey, let me check with my husband, my spouse. Let me see what my kids have going on and then I'll get back to you. It's okay to get back to people and then say, you know what? I can't do tomorrow, but I can get it done by Friday. That's completely reasonable. Wouldn't you rather under over under promise and over deliver versus under deliver and over promise? And if we say yes immediately, we put ourselves at risk for under delivering because we might not have time. We might not have the resources. We might not have the things that are necessary for us to be successful. And if you are like me and you are a high achieving woman, if you are someone that actually cares about the product that goes out into the world, whether it's in a professional space or in a personal space, we want to deliver a good product. We don't just want to throw some crap out there and be like, I hit my deliverable. We actually want to stand behind our product. So it's okay to take that pause. Excuse me. It's okay to take that pause and say, let me get back to you. And then set realistic expectations. I will say it again. You teach people how to treat you. There were so many times, it was Friday night and I worked in an office building. I think all of my office buildings this has happened in many jobs where the lights go out after a certain time if they don't sense any movement. And I think it would start around 7:00 and the lights would go out and I would stand up and I would wave my arms because nobody was in the office. And I'm thinking, it's Friday night. I have friends, blowing me up on my phone. Hey, we're going here, we're going there. And I'm like, I'm in the office. I'm in the office. Why are you in the office? Oh, I have stuff to finish up. I'm the only one in the office. Why am I the only one in the office? And how many times did I leave at 9 p.m. and I missed all the events with my friends? Maybe they went to a concert, maybe they went out, whatever it was, and I'm sitting there. Whose fault is that? Not my boss's. That was mine because I didn't push back. And I don't even want to say push back. I didn't stand up for what I knew was right. If you are a full-time employee, you are paid for 40 hours. If you go over that, then maybe that's a discussion you need to have with your boss. Hey, I'm putting in too many hours. And only you can stand up for yourself. I think about this in the space when it comes to salaries and how many times I did not stand up for myself when I was getting a job. The last job I had, I found out that my male counterpart who was making or who managed the same size team that I did was making 70. That's a 70, $70,000 more than me. 70,000. But you know why? Because I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't maybe do the market research the way that I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Or maybe I didn't want to hear that word no. So I just accepted it. And I think for women, it's really hard for us not to just say the word no, but for us to hear it. Guys are like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They tell me no. Or best case scenario, I walk out of there and I make $25,000 more. Booyah. Ladies, we need to get comfortable with just words. They're just words. And we have to accept them, maybe even celebrate them. I had a situation happen recently where I was working with someone on a project and something happened a few times and I was just assessing the situation. And I stood up for myself. I said, this isn't going to work for me. It felt very disrespectful. Now, I would think that the partner, think about your spouse, your boyfriend, your partner, in whatever capacity that may be, maybe a friend. If they're feeling disrespected, it's another way of saying like, no, this isn't going to work for me. What do you say? You say, okay, well then let's find a way for us to work together and see how we can find a fit, find a match. And this person blew up. This person blew up at me. And it was a very interesting thing for me to watch. It said a lot about this person's character. And I think that this person had a lot of things going on behind the scenes that maybe I was unaware of. And this person felt that they were confronted when I said, hey, I felt disrespected. And after a few days, I went back and I said, hey, I think a better way for us to have approached this is this wasn't about you. I didn't say I felt disrespected and this was you. I don't think you woke up in the morning and said, hey, how can I disrespect Jen? I don't think that at all. I truly don't. But what was happening wasn't working for me. And that's what I was saying. So a more powerful discussion for us to then come and have would be, hey, how do we make a partnership work? Not make it all about you, blow up, and the whole thing dissipates. So when we hear the word no, putting ourselves in the other person's shoes, why did this person feel disrespected? Why did this person say no? Why did this person, and trying to understand from their point of view is a much more powerful way of looking at the situation than just getting crazy over it. We need to get curious. We need to get curious about ourselves. Why do we feel this way? Why do we feel this resentment? Why do we feel this, frustration and anxiety? Why? Why does this other person? And when we start to get really curious about our lives, it takes the emotions out and we can look at things more factually. Okay. Now I start to understand my partner better. There are some things that are a no for my partner, and we should celebrate those things. I never really celebrated word no because it feels weird. It's like a weird word. Sometimes, you hear the word no and you're like, "Oh heck no. Oh heck no. You didn't say no to me. Oh hey." I think that was me for so much of my life. And even sometimes still, I find myself like, "Oh, you said no?" But then I stop because I realize that saying no is a boundary. And that is something that we should celebrate about people. And not every situation is the exact same. If you have someone that you invite to a party and you say, "Hey, can you bring a side dish?" And the person says, "No," every single time, never contributes, doesn't show up on time. Is this a person that you want to have at your party? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, is the value that they bring from their personality, does that outweigh the fact that they never contribute like everybody else? I don't know. You have to decide that for yourself. But if someone is saying, "Hey, no, look, I can't," then why don't we start to celebrate that and say, "Wow, congratulations. They learned the power of saying no," which is something we all need to start doing. "No, I'm not gonna take that salary. I know that that's underpaid. No, I can't have that deliverable by tomorrow because I know that it's realistic. No, I can't go out on Friday night because I've already made this other commitment. No, I," and no is a complete sentence too. You don't always need to follow up with your justifications. You can say no, and that's that. Sometimes it's helpful for us as humans because we always want justifications and why? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Sometimes it's helpful for us to have that, but don't feel that you always have to, "I said no, and here's my reasons." It may be helpful for you and the other person to have that conversation just so that you understand one another. If you don't if you don't have that conversation, then potentially the other person may misinterpret it or make it all about themselves, like what happened the other day recently in my life, where this person made it all about themselves, exploded, and then trashed me on social media. I mean, that could happen too. The word no is so powerful, and it is your fundamental right as a human being. You have the right to say no. If you say yes to everything, then you are going to be overwhelmed. And I guarantee you are going to be in a level of resentment. Our boundaries are tied directly to our self esteem. This is the last, and this is the last example that I'll leave you with. I look at some of my girlfriends and they say, "Okay, here is what I do on the first date." And we just go out and we have a drink and then we say goodbye and that's it. And I've had girlfriends come and tell me, "Oh, we kissed, we made out, whatever." I don't even hear from the person anymore. Okay, chick, you had a boundary. You were supposed to say no. You told yourself this. Why don't you feel good about the situation? It's because you crossed your own boundary. If you were able to stand up and say no for yourself, we wouldn't be having this conversation of, and now I don't feel good about myself because you stood up for you. Only you can stand up for you. It's truth. Only you can stand up for you. And I personally, Jen Sugarmeyer, want you to feel like a rock star every single day. So it's getting comfortable with that word no. It's hearing that word no and being inquisitive about it. It's learning to take a pause before you respond and saying the thing that truly aligns with you. Is it, "Yes, I can hit that deliverable by tomorrow," or is it, "No, I'm going to need more time"? Let's not get weirded out. Let's start celebrating this word no because it's so powerful. It keeps you in a place where your self esteem is high, it keeps you out of resentment. So let's not get weird about it. It's how you say it and it's how you receive it. Let's get inquisitive. Let's start celebrating that word. So it is Words Wednesday. That's what I wanted to talk about. And I want you to practice this. Let me know. Go out to higherandheels.com and shoot me a message. Say, "Hey, Jen, this is how this impacted my life. And now I feel great. Now I, whatever." Write me. Let me know how you're doing with this because this is something that all of us need to work on because we teach people how to treat us. All right. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll be back here tomorrow at 6 a.m. Central Time. So I love you. I wish you well. Think about how you want to show up today and think about that word no and how we're going to start to celebrate it. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.